In addition to descriptive statistics, most studies use inferential tests. There are a lot of options to choose from depending on the purpose of the research and the type of data, but the process of conducting those analyses in SPSS have some things in common. For example, while this video focuses on conducting a correlation analysis, the process of using the menus and the structure of the dialog boxes will be similar for other analyses. Before you move on, you'll want to review the information about the short grit scale I used as an example in previous recordings. I'll continue using that example. You might also want to review the SPSS guide for the correlation. As I mentioned, I'll continue working with the example data set from the short grit scale that I used in the other examples. Thinking about this in terms of the other steps we've learned about, we would need to have prepared the data file for analysis, including computing scale scores. When we have the data file open, we can access the dialog box for the bivariate correlation by going to the Analyze menu, going down to select Correlate, and then selecting Bivariate. The dialog box for the analysis will look like the one on the left in this slide, with the variables listed in the box on the left side. We locate the variables we want to analyze in that list and click to highlight them, like you see in the center box on this slide. We can select more than one variable at a time by holding down the Control key. Then we click on the arrow between the two boxes to move the names of the variable into the box labeled Variables. That'll look like the box on the far right in this slide. Two important things to note at this point. First, remember we typically analyze scale scores rather than the individual question. So that's part of the reason I selected what I did in this dialog box. Second, you can select more than two variables at a time. So if you have multiple measures with multiple scales, you can run the analysis at once. After we move our variables from the list on the left to the box on the right, we can click on the button labeled Options to see the dialog box to select additional statistics. In our case, we'll want the means and standard deviations. So we'll select that box. When that's done, we can click on Continue and then click OK in the main dialog box. The output will include two tables. The descriptive statistics will be in the top table and the correlation analysis will be in the bottom table. We'll learn how to interpret the tables in the next step.